Julia Merfeld gets into a stranger's car and they introduce themselves.
So, I guess you got a little business to discuss?
She is interviewing a hitman for hire. They discuss payment, a good date and time, and the target, Jacob, her husband. The conversation becomes increasingly creepy as they get into the finer details of the job.
You don't want him to suffer, so I'll make it quick and clean.
Perfect.
I mean, I can do it any way you want me to, but I just want to know how you want it done.
Really, whatever's easiest. If you can get him outside, that would be great. Because it would be messy in the house.
They later have a second meeting finalizing the plan. After showing the hitman a picture of the target, Julia starts talking about why she is having this done.
As terrible as it sounds, it was easier than divorcing him. You know, I didn't have to worry about the judgment of my family. I didn't have to worry about breaking his heart. Stuff like this is like kind of like a clean getaway. I mean, it's gonna.
I'm just gonna take him head on there, and I'm gonna shoot him right in the face.
Okay.
Little does Julia know that she is actually talking to an undercover officer, and these two videos contain all the evidence they need to put her away. The judge gave Julia a sentence of between 5 and 20 years. Let me know if you agree with this decision or if you would have given a harsher sentence. This ghost hunter should really be looking behind him. Published by Find Ghost in December of 2021, a man stands in the wilderness holding something and addressing what's in front of him. He is oblivious to what's behind him. A djinn appears, transparent at first, but then more solid looking. The djinn stays only for a moment before gradually vanishing again. The moral of the story: sometimes what you're looking for is right over your shoulder. When two strangers pull up to your boat on the Nile, you have to assume the worst. This area is known for pirates. They cast a line and tie themselves to the ship in preparation to board.
Oh dear lord.
The one in white reaches down and then back turned, stands up while holding something.
Alright guys, look for art. Does anyone see an in there?
He reaches back into his pocket and pulls out nothing but towels. As it turns out, this area is full of traveling salesmen too, even at sea. Still, I think they probably should have ran for help as soon as they thought these could be pirates, instead of recording in plain sight and making themselves an easy target. A family in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania sees something that is so incredible that they have to stop what they are doing and start recording.
There's another spark. You see what else?
What's that?
I need to get a picture. And
What is that?
tree.
No. Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Strange, shimmering spots appear out of nowhere and seem to float above the meadow and nearby forest floor. For a moment, they think that it could be other people, but whatever they are seeing is floating around everywhere, even in the trees. Many people who watch this video think that these are ghostly soldiers from the Civil War marching in single file lines, just like they did on the day of their demise. Others think that this could be flashlights from hikers, though this really doesn't look like a flashlight to me. I would definitely like to hear what you think is causing this scenario. This video was taken from a waiting station at the Islamabad International Airport in Pakistan. Any strings attached to this chair would be easy to see on the bright and reflective cement floor, but I don't see any, and the chair slides across the room without anyone in sight. It looks like it might be getting pulled by someone off camera here at the 33-second mark, but then it does a 360 all of its own somehow, so that theory is pretty much debunked. There's also no way for magnets to work from beneath a solid concrete floor, so I have no idea how this was done. Lord British LP is standing on his porch as a big storm rips through his neighborhood. His internet is down, so he records a video about nothing in particular to help pass the time. That's when he temporarily goes blind. A bolt of lightning hits the street lamp in front of his house and fills his vision with whiteness. He runs cursing into his house to get away. It's easy to miss, so I circled the street lamp that was struck by lightning to give you a better look at just how close he came to being literal toast. With a Ouija board in hand, a YouTuber named Contagious Noise takes her girlfriend and her sister to an old barn that's just beyond city limits. They are positive that this barn is very haunted and therefore the perfect place to contact the other side. The group laughs and carries on playfully at first, but it isn't long before the situation grows alarmingly serious. Tell me if it really looks like the pointer is moving all by itself here.
On my grandma, I'm not doing it. Garrett?
I swear on everything. I'm not. Look at my fingers. Are.
Soon they contact the spirit of a 4-year-old who could possibly be named Ryan. They are trying to ask it more questions when out of nowhere it spells out the name Grace, which is the name of one of the girls. The spirit doesn't seem to want to give any real answers. Sometimes the Ouija board simply spells letters at random. Just when they get the feeling that a spirit is messing with them, a random noise confirms their suspicions.
Or ask who the 4-year-old was, why they're here.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Each one of them promises that they are not playing a joke and they decide to try again. This time the Ouija board spells out a single word.
Help. Say goodbye.
Empty roads at night can be quite sinister, especially when this happens. Posted to TikTok, Leslie Alexis writes that she and her sister went out to get ices at 2:30 in the morning. When they arrived at the first stoplight on the way out of their neighborhood, it was green, but the white truck waiting at the light didn't budge. The pair beeped, but it still didn't move. They eventually went around. They went and got their ices and returned home. On their way back, the car was still sitting at the light. They passed it, pulled a Yui, and drove by again, trying to see if there was anyone inside, but the windows were too tinted. Some in the comments were worried the driver might have had a medical emergency. Others think that they just fell asleep or passed out at the wheel. In part 2 of the video series, Leslie explains that they returned home and told their mom, and she drove them back to the stoplight. Once there, the car was gone. It was 3 a.m. Coincidence? Maybe, but it makes you wonder what exactly happened here.
This is a huge 10-foot fish. Even the locals don't even know what this is.
This underwater discovery is scary to visitors and locals alike because never before have they seen such a strange sea creature sighting. It's unknown exactly when this video was taken. Somewhere in Mexico is the best I could find, but I can tell you what this is called. It's an oarfish, and it gets its name because it's roughly as long as a rowing paddle. Everyone is perplexed by what to them is a mysterious encounter. In reality, the oarfish looks twice as aggressive as a shark, but actually poses no harm to you unless you are underwater plankton. Its main diet, strange appearance aside, there's one other reason to be afraid of this fish. According to Japanese folklore, oarfish wash ashore when an earthquake is coming soon. Apparently it's happened so many times in the past that they've even done experiments to see if it's true. They weren't able to prove the myth true, but one lead scientist talked about changes in catfish behavior that have been observed up to 10 days before an earthquake. So if a catfish acts strange before an earthquake, then an oarfish could too, in my opinion. If anyone knows the date and location of this video, then please tell me. That way I could look up any reports of seismic activity after this video was taken to see if the legends are true. Impending earthquake or not, seeing this creature wash ashore on a sunny day and not knowing what it was would be enough to make me grab my luggage and get the heck out of there. That's one freaky fish I'd rather not chance brushing across in the water. Myrtle Sorosa is a popular model and actress from the Philippines who witnessed something unexplainable while on tour. In eastern Samar, she and her crew are navigating unlit back roads when they spot this small phantom-like figure in the street. In Myrtle's words, the white blob caught by the dash cam does not match what they saw in person. She says what they saw looked more like a child who was around 10 years old with a pale face and a bluish-white shirt. They wanted to double back and save the helpless child, but their tour guide said that this road is famous for child ghost sightings and that it was best to get out of there quickly. I guess this could all be just a publicity stunt, but since Eastern Samar once had a bad typhoon that claimed the lives of many children, I think that she is probably telling the truth. I need to include this video because I've never come across a paranormal video before with such an even split between people saying that it's absolutely fake and so obviously real. Some people are certain that this is the legitimate ghost of a child, and others are sure that this is special effects, light reflections, and a plastic bag, and a host of other non-paranormal explanations. As for me, I think that I probably would have noticed something that large moving out of the corner of my eye, so I think it could be fake, but then again, I can't say for sure unless I was there myself. Maybe the camera recorded something that was not discernible by the naked eye. This old dormitory has a story to tell. According to the channel 01 Supernatural Studio, who published this video in February of 2022, this dormitory was left behind by a foreign company after an incident happened in this place. What type of incident though? Well, he doesn't go into detail, but considering the company left this place abandoned, it must not be a good one. Using thermotechnology along with an EMF meter, the ghost hunter quickly detects some energy here. As he's exploring the place, he's ascending the stairs when his EMF meter again detects an energy field. His thermotechnology spies what looks like a figure in the corner. Later, while he's standing still, he hears a faint noise coming from somewhere within the house. Who is there with him? Maybe this dorm hasn't been abandoned after all. You think winter roads are bad, and you've probably never ridden your bike here. This incident occurred in India in 2018. The uploader explains that it was his third day of riding from Indore to Pangong Lake, and he had just partnered with another rider who joined him on his solo trip. He writes that the pass was slippery that day and was loaded with trucks. The result is a close call his friend met with, which he caught on camera. The footage shows the pair of bikers on a narrow mountain road with nothing but a cliff edge and a 100+ foot fall to their right. In front of them is a truck transporting heavy metal poles. As they follow quite closely behind this truck, it looks as though his friend is going to attempt to overtake the vehicle on the cliffside with little to no shoulder, but that attempt comes to a quick end when his heavy bike with all his belongings piled onto the back loses traction on the slushy ground. It falls onto its side dangerously near the cliff edge. If he'd been even a foot nearer the edge, he would have been a goner. As fate would have it, his life was spared that day, and as Banda writes, hopefully this teaches other riders to ride safe, live long. You shall not pass. YouTuber 32 Jeremiah Nongtrod 2K17 captured a witch guarding a remote dirt road in the darkness of night. The witch stands in the middle of the road, unmoving for more than a minute. Just when it seems like she will never leave, she finally hobbles off and vanishes into the darkness. The guys drive forward to look for her, but she's nowhere to be found. Where did she go? And what was she doing there in the first place? Although this video has no answers, it's obvious to me that whatever that was in the road, witch, ghost, or demon, it was not to be crossed. These guys were smart to keep their distance. Ohm Vlogs has set up a camera at this junction in the middle of the night. What he sees there calls up plenty of questions, and they're without answers. First, he sees this figure walking across the grounds.
मैंने मोड़ा ये पेड़ के पास हाँ ये पेड़ के पास ये देखो ये कोई लगा मुझे पता नहीं उस पेड़ के पास करके एंड
He then sees this figure in red. It's not clear if it's the same person in the security footage. It looks like he lights a candle, maybe for prayer or some other ritual. But it's when this next figure enters the picture that things get really creepy.
हाँ ये देखो ये कोई आया ये औरत है ये कोई और हाथ में आग है आग अबे भाई आग जला रखी है हाथ पे
After a while, she sits on the ground with her flame.
ये चौक पे घूम रही है हाथ नहीं जल रहा है इसको बिल्कुल भी और इसने आग को नीचे रखा हाथ को नीचे रखा इसने आग को नीचे रखा इसने
When the witch leaves, he heads over to check out what she was burning, and then he finds her.
और ये पता नहीं कुछ करके अरे यार वो जा रही है
Later, the camera captures her again crossing the same junction. And he finds this burning. The vlogger thinks this is a witch performing some type of ritual. I agree that he's probably right. I can't find any other explanation for her movements at night. I'm not sure what she's doing exactly, whether it's good or evil, but I do find it fascinating. Trevor, aka Hitch, has a live stream channel where he travels all across the country meeting new people. The only problem is the people he meets aren't always alive. He's staying overnight at a hotel that's supposedly haunted when scary things happen to him. The kind of stuff the hotel's owner would probably never want you to see because it would be bad for business.
I've never seen anything like can be explained. I've never heard anything that could have no explanation.
He is in the middle of talking about how he's never experienced a scary moment that couldn't be explained.
And I'm doing stuff where people, I think people would be like, you'd be very...
When suddenly some weird things caught on live stream leave him laughing uncontrollably with fear. I think he's laughing to cover up an intense sense of panic. A vein is about to bust out his forehead with adrenaline, suggesting his fight or flight instincts were triggered and he was gearing up for conflict. This was not someone in his hotel room because, unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't sharing a room with anyone in this video. He was staying all by himself when the lights turned on. I guess he could have asked a random person to help him make a ghost video, but his response seems genuine, so I don't think this moment is made up. I will say as a counterpoint that many other scary live stream moments like this have turned out to be fake though, so I'm not claiming this was 100% real. I'm just saying that this was really weird and he seems freaked out. Tell me if you think he was really staying in a haunted hotel that night. I think he was. After all, when you travel to different places all over the country, it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up being haunted. A woman feels sorry for her cat because it recently lost its best friend. She begins recording a Snapchat after she notices her cat is meowing, like it's looking for its companion, and feels sorry for the little guy. That's when she accidentally records something terrifying. The head of a shadow figure peeks out from the foot of her bed just before her Snapchat ends. Her only remaining cat is all white, so that's not it, and nobody else is in the house with her. The size of this shadow figure's head looks small, more like an animal than a person, so maybe this was the cat she recently lost, which happens to be a black cat, by the way. To me, it looks like it wants to climb into bed with her, just like it always has, and perhaps the other cat was meowing not out of loneliness, but because its friend is back again. Seeing how she claims to have felt watched all week, I'd say it's a strong possibility. TikToker Marlene Sanchez 052 thought her partner was joking when he started to behave like something was pulling him. It turns out he wasn't. Watch closely.
When I thought he was joking, but something was really pulling him.
His leg really does look like it's being yanked by something. This is not a natural movement that you make on your own. Some in the comments also note a child's giggle at the beginning of the clip. Is that child actually there? Or is it the child spirit pulling his leg? I think it's the latter, and that's truly terrifying because that kid is strong. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee is one of the most haunted hospitals on Earth. So much so that it's been officially designated as a paranormal research center on Google. Almost everyone that goes there has a paranormal experience. Take a YouTube channel called Lost Souls Paranormal, for example. One of the few research teams brave enough to go exploring the haunted hospital's basement. An investigator named Bailey splits from the group, and this is what he records underground. Running footsteps are coming from all directions, and are possibly even in the same room that he is. Suddenly, the idea of ghost hunting isn't as fun as it was 5 minutes ago, and so he doesn't go any further. This is enough paranormal evidence to convince me, but let me know if you think it was his friends making the noise. Years prior, another paranormal investigator named L.W. Drums was close to the same spot of the hospital and experienced strange ghost activity as well.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us.
The voice of somebody who isn't there mocks the investigator with an exaggerated sigh, and a shadow appears at around this time too.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us. Something just touched my head. Ooh.
Something jabs him from behind. When he turns around, the mysterious camera goes out of focus like something is right up on the lens, and I don't know if this is a third member of the team, but at 29 seconds, a mysterious figure is definitely just sitting on the other side of the room staring at them. A YouTuber named The Modern Mombi is sipping her coffee while pumping gas while she notices someone watching her get into her car. She lets it slide until she sees him looking at her again.
But yeah, he keeps peeping us.
She is making a video probably in the hopes that it will make him too ashamed to continue, but he looks straight at her and seems to smirk. It's a weird and creepy expression that he has no excuse to keep making if they are strangers. Maybe he thinks he recognizes her, but if that were the case, staring at her instead of saying hello is rude and suspicious to say the least. Then again, maybe the camera is the only thing keeping him from being more intrusive. He eventually gets in the car and drives away. That's when she realizes she's in her work uniform and hopes he won't be staring at her sometime soon at her job. Beam Me Up Scotty, published to YouTube in June of 2019. This CCTV footage reveals a possible spirit captured on video in Port Moresby that same year. The footage shows an intersection that looks to be on the outskirts of the city, probably from restaurants or shops that are still open at night. Street lamps illuminate the roadway, blinking on and off as a truck turns at the crossroads. Then something strange and out of place appears. On one corner of a median, a ghostly glowing mist manifests before rising upwards and out of sight. On closer inspection, the small figure appears humanoid, glowing at its core. But what is it, and where did it go? This paranormal activity was caught on a camera that's displaying an incorrect time. A YouTuber named For Your Viewing Pleasure thinks they have caught a ghost on video sometime around 3 a.m., not 1:24 like the camera says. Regardless, some creepy moments have been caught on tape as their home CCTV system plays back a bizarre ghost-like in front of the camera. Another thing that's weird besides the ghost is how the background goes totally black for 6 seconds and then even stays black for 1 second after the ghost is no longer caught on tape. For Your Viewing Pleasure says they hope this is a bug, even though they think it's probably paranormal. One person suggested that he has not caught a ghost sighting on video, but a moth instead. These creepy moments caught on camera from 2 to 4 seconds do look like possible wings in motion when slowed down, but I'm not sure what to think. Both sides have good arguments, so take one final look and tell me if this looks like a paranormal security video to you or not. Bayrose H is certain that his house is haunted and claims this video is proof. For some reason, his little dog TJ is always growling at the corner of his bedroom. Bayrose shows that there is nothing of interest in the corner besides some old suitcases. Yet TJ refuses to give up. Eventually, TJ tracks something leaving the room that is undetectable to the human eye. Exactly what this dog was seeing is anyone's guess, but I think it was most likely a spiritual presence of some kind. Perhaps some kind of intense event once took place here and left a paranormal energy behind. Next time you're in nature, take a closer look at your camera roll. You might just catch a forest spirit. Redditor I Like Toby Maguire says that he thinks bro wants to say hi in this pic captured at the forest's edge in North Carolina. Do you see it? Look closer. Many in the comments think the spooky face is either photoshopped or is pareidolia. While I could definitely see this being edited, I also think it's possible that it's a bubble floating past, or it could just be the newest, creepiest, scary movie villain. If this photo is real, I'd be staying far away from that forest. Number 8. The Wardrobe Ritual is one of the paranormal world's most dangerous games. YouTubers PIT Paranormal Investigation Team complete the ritual, which turns up more than they expected.
Cosa? Cosa? Cosa?
Something grabs Debbie, and it isn't human. What was that? A human-like hand appears for a moment to grab Debbie's shoulder, but no one is behind her. I do believe the ritual was successful. They summoned a demon. Now the question is, how do you send it back? Dennis of Dark Life is about to encounter an aggressive poltergeist in the house of the witch. His cameras capture everything too. First, something starts messing with the cupboard. The demon then grows a bit more aggressive. He seems to be toying with Dennis. Dennis asks many questions of the spirit, and the spirit responds.
Вас она убила? Она сейчас здесь?
When he asks if the spirit needs help, it answers,
Я могу вам чем-нибудь помочь? Нет.
It seems to be following him.
Это вы? Вы сейчас издаете этот звук?
And the knocking gets louder.
Нет.
Again, the spirit reiterates that no one can help him.
Вам кто-нибудь может помочь? Нет.
And finally, Dennis decides that he's in danger and should leave.
Не боюсь, грозит опасность. Да. Я сказал опасность и делал да. В общем, все, друзья, я сейчас собираюсь, попрощаюсь позже, когда уже уйдут.
It's clear that this malevolent spirit is taking no prisoners. If I were Dennis, I'd get out of there too. This jinn has a sense of humor. Published by Hassan Barbar in May of 2022, the paranormal explorer is in this abandoned place when a jinn alerts him to his presence, yet he does not appear. As the unseen makes more noise, Hassan follows the sound, then the thing starts to laugh. Or is this a laugh?
طب إذا أنت هون ظلم طبعا طلع خوش حب اليوم جابنا.
The noise continues, leading him around this empty maze. Soon it sounds like it's breaking something apart, and then that unnerving laughter again.
هو المكان كبير بصدر الصوت من هون أو من هون مش عارف.
Where is it coming from? The jinn speaks to him, but what does he want? We may never know.
مش عارف. اطلع. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
No one's getting any sleep in this room tonight. Published by Amma Media Channel in April of 2022, a woman is trying to catch some Z's in bed when a poltergeist takes over the room. First, it causes this baby swing to jerk around erratically, which wakes the woman up. She gets up and holds it still, which it is for a moment, but then it starts to swing like crazy again. The woman seems to think it's the wind. She checks the window. When the chair is still again, something flies from off the top of the wardrobe. A moment later, the closet door creaks open and then swings open further. The baby swing starts moving briefly. A moment later, something creepy appears in the mirror of the wardrobe door. What is it? But I'd guess that it's what's causing all the chaos. A man in Russia goes exploring a field by the side of the road with a metal detector and detects a ghost instead.
Привидение. І ще так світиться іменно як фосфор, таким зеленим, таким класно, яскраво. якийсь привид. У.
Off in the distance is what he suspects could be the apparition of a roadside phantom. It's pretty bizarre, but this image taken at 7 minutes and 11 seconds looks more like a roadside marker than anything paranormal. The only problem is I have no idea what the road signs look like in Russia. So tell me if this is one of them or not, then we'll all know if this video is paranormal. There's nothing else like it on this whole stretch of road, and he's never seen it before. So maybe he's making it up, or maybe it's something weird after all. Got insomnia? This scary video won't help. Published by Little Genius in February of 2022, the following footage was captured while this poor soul was sleeping, or trying to. Slowly, the blankets are pulled down from the man's shoulders. He pulls them back up, but it happens again, and then a third time. But this doesn't seem to get the sleeping man's attention. A water bottle balanced on his headboard falls onto the bed. He replaces it and continues to sleep, but the bottle soon wobbles to the side and falls again. Next, a chair with a teddy bear slides forward on its own. Moments later, it scoots forward even more. It then tips backward, falling onto the floor and finally waking the man up. What entity is interfering with this guy's sleep? Whoever it is, it succeeded. This man will never sleep again. When you happen upon a cave carved into a mountainside, you might want to think twice before entering. Published to YouTube by the Highway 9 in September of 2017, this video serves as a warning to never ever go caving alone. The footage takes you through a deep and dark rock-hewn cave. Along the way, bats are seen hanging from the ceiling, and a long black centipede-like insect is climbing the walls. But the creepiest part is yet to come. As the YouTuber rounds a corner, he senses something deeper in the tunnel. He presses on, peering into the darkness, and seems to see a figure beyond. Highway writes, "I'm not sure what I saw, but it scared the wits out of me." Needless to say, he fled the scene as anyone would. YouTuber LeeStat444 writes in the comments, "This is what happens when you enter a cave full of bats, dusts, and insects. You find Batman." Whether this unfortunate explorer found that or something much more nefarious is anybody's guess, but I'm gonna err on the side of the second choice. This ghost has had a few too many. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Best of Us, here is yet another haunted bar whose resident ghosts' sauced up antics were caught on camera. Watch the bottles to the left of the bar. One bottle on the second shelf starts to nudge toward the edge. While a wet surface sometimes has that effect on items placed on that surface, it usually doesn't lead to this. After inching slowly toward the ledge, the bottle takes a sudden jarring leap, knocking a second bottle below it off the display. This doesn't seem like a natural progression. Rather, it seems like the bottle was yanked from the ledge by some unseen entity. Many in the comments relate their own stories of haunted bars, with Redditor Your Dumb Idiot chiming in, "I used to work at a bar that was haunted. Always the same bottle thrown off the shelf in the morning despite me moving it to prove it wasn't a ghost." While many, including myself, wonder what these bar ghosts could possibly want from us by throwing bottles around, Redditor Tech Impaired has one theory. He writes, "They just wanted some booze. I see what they did there." This short clip was taken at an unidentified prison that is most likely abandoned. This is an actual creature coming out of the darkness, or are the shadows just playing tricks on you? I will say that there are signs of editing. The dust is swirling a lot faster than normal, which makes me believe that this footage was sped up. It could have been a normal person dressed in all black, quietly walking up and then backing away, which would look very paranormal when sped up like that. Maybe the video was sped up for some other reason and is in fact real. YouTuber Yvonne thinks her apartment is haunted. Posted in January of 2018, Yvonne writes that she heard a clanking noise in her home and turned on the camera to try to capture the noise. She notes in the video description, "Our cabinets are brand new, no way for any rodent to get in. Also, they are the kind that don't swing shut on their own. You have to physically close them." The short clip shows a shot of her kitchen, assumedly from where the sound was coming. After a moment, a large clattering is heard as a cupboard opens of its own accord, and something from inside falls to the floor.
Oh my god.
This isn't the first case of odd happenings in the home. According to Yvonne, strange occurrences have been going on for a while. What do you think? Is it time to move? Is the haunted Papworth Hospital worth exploring? YouTube Team Ghost Theory tests their fates to answer that question in this scary video. As they enter the building, they hear a whistle. Continuing their tour of the hospital, the spirits there respond to their questions.
Can you see us? That was a yes, wasn't it? What the actual...
They get an affirmative answer again.
Are there more than one... Is there more than one spirit here? That's a yes.
As they stay quiet for a minute, they hear multiple noises in the stillness.
That's weird. And also, I'm confused because why in like a reception area?
Well, I guess they could be anywhere.
Yeah, wandering around. Is that true? Do you just walk around here?
Further along, they capture a door moving.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, no, I just said that.
I've just started recording. That door's just moved.
They then hear a loud thump from another room.
Wow.
And then another strange noise is heard. As they head outside, there's faint crying in the night.
Look like a baby.
It's a baby crying, did you? No. I think it could be just one of the houses.
There aren't any.
There are just there, in front of us. No lights on.
Is that a baby crying? Before they can find out, they face off with some of the scariest beings that ghost hunters can ever encounter: humans. While the team may have been here, it sounds to me like they're not alone. It seems plenty of spirits are afoot at Papworth. Jump in the DeLorean and go back to this 90s home stuck in time. YouTuber Ranger Rick TV visits the abandoned place where a homeowner passed away, leaving everything behind. The calendar is left on the date she passed away.
And we have a calendar date, so this tells me that whoever last passed away in this house was on April 1992. Wow, that is old.
Behind the wall of one room lies a mystery unsolved.
Makes me really curious about this wall right here. Let me light it up so you can see what I'm seeing. It looks like this was part of, well, this is the wall right here, but why do they have this little cutout right here? Something makes me think.
The main bedroom is left in disarray.
And then we walk into this room right here.
But the room where the homeowner passed away has been left untouched, and for good reason.
This is probably my favorite room in the whole house, for obvious reasons. Just because it's like the main room. I already told you the backstory on this place, and yep, this is where the lady passed away.
The poor woman likely passed away alone, and her body wasn't discovered for a long time. Such a sad story, and one I won't be able to forget for a long time coming. Number 11. A group of ghost hunters called PXTV go deep in the Wombwell Woods, a haunted forest in the UK where many people sadly go to take their lives. They split up to cover maximum ground, and one of them, Steve, finds a spot he deems suitable to begin an EVP session, which stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon. He sets up his EVP box and asks any spirits nearby to make a light go on. When it does, he asks for 2 lights, but gets this verbal warning instead.
Can you make 2 lights light up? Ovilus has just said run.
But something descends upon Steve before he gets a chance to do as told. I didn't exactly see anything, but Steve says that he was pushed out of the way by something nearby. And when he looks at his EVP box, the translator displays the word run written in all capitals. I'm not sure if there's any way to tamper with these devices and make them say pre-programmed messages or not, but assuming this video really is unaltered, then the evidence is all right there to see. Basements are inherently creepy, but this basement's resident shadow person will make your skin crawl. A shadow person was caught on camera in a Pennsylvania basement on December 15th, 2016. The YouTuber writes, "For the last few months there have been weird bangs and noises in our basement. Sounds like someone is walking up and down our steps." He goes on to say that his wife thought it was their cats at first, since their litter box is in the basement, but on the night in question, their cats were upstairs in their daughter's room, and their dog was in his cage in the kitchen, whining about the basement noise. He brought a camera to prove to his wife that the cats weren't making this noise, which had started out of nowhere a few months prior. "This thing I caught on camera, I am at a loss over," he writes. "Now I am terrified in this house." As he heads down the stairs to the basement, a shadow person peers around the corner, frightening the man.
I know I heard you. Oh my God.
He runs down the stairs at it, trying to catch it on camera up close, but it disappears around the corner and isn't caught again. YouTuber Wyoming Oregon points out, if you pay attention to when he first turns the cam, around right before he cuts on the lights, it was standing there on the stairwell and ran down the stairs. Most confirm Wyoming's take, with many agreeing it was extremely creepy. Others say they've seen these shadow people in real life before. The uploader notes that they've decided to move after watching this video, as they don't want to raise their daughter in a haunted house. After seeing this, can you blame them? Crazy George's Bridge is the name of a legendarily haunted location in Tennessee. This bridge overlooks the very same tracks that a man named George once wandered onto and met a terrible fate. Now George's angry ghost chases away anyone who says his name 3 times. Strange magic rituals are also said to be practiced out in the woods to honor his name, and so paranormal activity has become a regular occurrence over the years. Tonight, a brave YouTuber named Mads Entertainment is ready to settle the legend of Crazy George once and for all, and so he goes on a paranormal exploration of the bridge at night from the top to bottom.
Crazy George. Crazy George. Crazy George.
The sound of an approaching engine turns out to be nothing more than oncoming traffic. They refuse to give up the ghost hunt and try to address the paranormal directly by speaking into the night sky.
If anyone's here, you can come speak into my camera.
They are positive that these sound like the noises of a little ghost girl screaming in the woods, possibly a manifestation of black magic rituals in the past. I'm not so sure because I think it could be an animal. Here's the sound again. Let me know what you think this scary voice in the darkness belongs to. Would you ever purchase a house knowing that somebody passed away in it? Post it to TikTok by Don't Be an Ash Hole. This person wasn't bothered, that is, until she ripped up the carpet. On the floorboards, a body outline is found with the case number and dates written beneath one arm.
I wasn't bothered knowing someone died in my new house. But imagine my surprise when I ripped up the floor.
There's also a stain on one side of the outline. So did the person just pass away, or was his life taken? Some are debating in the comments whether this is real or not, saying that the floorboards would be replaced as a biohazard, and that they don't draw these outlines anymore, as doing so can contaminate evidence. So is this just a trick by previous homeowners, as some TikTokers are suggesting? Talk about leaving a mark on a place. A YouTuber named Jonathan senses something outside of his home and begins recording. He doesn't make it very far before he finds the source of his unease staring directly back at him.
Okay, guys. So...
A small set of beady eyes in the darkness sends Jonathan running back into his home. I was positive it was just a cat until I noticed there are other eyes in the video too, like when he turns around here. Maybe Jonathan does have an overactive imagination and was frightened by a neighborhood cat, or maybe he really is being watched in his own yard by an unseen network of nightmarish creatures. This witch is up to no good, published by Zona Paranormal Veracruz in December of 2021. This scary video starts with a flash. While in this graveyard, the man appears to have happened upon a ritual being performed.
Por Dios. No puedo prender la linterna, no puedo prender nada.
A figure is speaking and making this fire come to life. Later, amongst the mausoleums, the man hears that strange voice again in the darkness. Followed shortly by a high-pitched sing-song voice. The man then falls forward hard, pushed by an unseen force. He sees a ghostly figure from a distance approaching him. And then it's too close for comfort. The fire is blazing again, and upon approaching the fading flames, the cameraman sees a witchy woman hunched over departing.
Señora, solo vengo a explorar, no vengo a hacer daño. Allá adentro unas sombras. Allá adentro una sombra, allá adentro.
What sort of ritual was this witch performing? This cameraman might find out in his days to come. Is this spirit wheelchair bound? YouTuber Eduardo Alvarez shares this footage of a wheelchair that activated a house alarm. This isn't just some drifting wheelchair. It actively backs up and moves forward on its own. It even appears to sense barriers in its way. This also looks like an old wheelchair, not one with any automated control. I think we have a poltergeist on our hands, or at least a wheelchair-bound spirit. We're staying the night at the haunted Brookstown Inn in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The YouTube team Just Ghouly Things is pushed down the stairs by a ghost.
Okay. Are you okay? I felt like something pushed me. No. Are you serious?
Her feet seem to slip right out from under her, and she says she felt like she was pushed.
Okay. Are you okay?
I don't know about this one. It looks like she's taking small enough steps to where she would have been solid in her descent, so this suggests to me she was pushed. But then again, those stairs look slippery. What do you think happened here? Number 20. A YouTuber named Lord Cryptid looks up to see a gorilla-sized creature staring at him from a short distance away. The head and shoulders are clearly defined, but it's not moving at all. So Lord Cryptid decides to get a closer look. It continues to silently regard him as he closes in. Now only a thin patch of thickets and reeds separates him from the threat before him, and when he zooms in, you're not going to believe what he sees. He is only meters away, and it still looks like a humanoid, not a bear. But when the camera focuses, what was originally an astoundingly scary creature is actually little more than a tree stump. I'm including this video because I feel like it could explain many of the other similar cryptid sightings in the woods. So in the future, unless the creature actually moves, it's probably just a stump. Ben of the YouTube channel Laney and Ben says paranormal events still occur in their forever haunted home. Here's a quick update of some of those events. First, a cup trick. Followed by the opening of kitchen drawers. Watch the silverware closely. Things get even more dangerous in another video. And the kitchen soon devolves into this madness. It doesn't appear that Laney and Ben's poltergeists are fading anytime soon. In fact, the last video makes me think their powers are only getting stronger.
There's someone down there.
I'm literally shaking right now. I am on my own right now. Hello?
A YouTuber named Andrew Duffy has a paranormal problem in his basement that literally leaves him shaking with fear.
There's someone in here. Let your presence known. Do something now.
He shakes throughout the entire 10 minutes and 43 seconds of this video without a break, which would take some talent to fake. Here's a good example. A driver in Singapore thinks they have a clear lane ahead when something to the right startles them badly enough to make them lay on their horn. The pale outline of a woman appears to be perfectly balanced on the center divider. While this could just be a person trying to cross a busy road, the driver is convinced that they've seen a ghost. Even if this is a person and not a spirit, I really don't know why they would choose to cross this section of the road. Aside from heavy traffic, there's really nothing but a tall hill on the other side and no discernible buildings of any kind. paranormal explorer Thiago Ferracao returns to the Benzedeiras house in this scary video, published in May of 2022. Legend has it that Maria began by doing good, blessing people, but ended by taking her own life after she started doing dark magic rituals. Ever since, her house has been haunted, and Thiago is on a mission to spend the night there. As he enters, someone is standing in an adjacent room. Before he can step inside, the door slams in his face. Is it Maria?
Meu Deus! Ai, foi isso?
When Thiago pushes his way into the room, no one is there. Checking out the corner in which she was standing, they hear an animal in the room.
Ah, tem bicho ali, ó. Oi, é uma aranha. Você tá vendo?
Then it seems like the animal goes after Thiago. Later, as they attempt to communicate with Maria via a spirit box, they hear this.
Que foi isso? Vai.
They continue throughout the house, trying to convince Maria that they are not there to hurt her, but she does not seem convinced.
Pra minha esposa. Thiago.
When the door finally stops banging, they open it. They leave the house wishing Maria peace, but does she wish peace upon them? If you think you see someone that others don't, you may be right. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Christina7658, the Redditor explains that a friend that works at a Subway in South Texas recorded this footage from a security monitor after a coworker kept seeing a cowboy who apparently wasn't really there. The bad quality of the footage is due to the fact that this happened more than 10 years ago. This is what the pair found when they reviewed it. A shadow figure is seen rising from the ground near the entryway. The mist-like figure appears to hover for a moment before making its exit through the window. This has most in the comments freaked out, with Hyperactive Audie stating, "You can see his hat. I won't sleep tonight." Other Redditors like JCKCS Mama debunk the all too common insect on the lens theory by stating that the anomaly doesn't appear from the edges of the camera frame, as one might expect a crawling insect to. Instead, it seems to come directly from the ground. Christina also states that the anomaly appears to take on the window tint as it exits the building. She also notes that the worker who kept seeing the cowboy had seen it throughout her entire shift. There used to be another video of her washing dishes, and a black blob like the one in the video is next to her. Although she couldn't find the other video, the combination of events has many leaning towards the paranormal. Others suggest that corruption of the videotape or the camera's hardwire issues could be a more practical explanation. But is that what you're seeing here? We all wish for signs from our dearly departed loved ones. Is this one of them? Redditor Snoo Bunnies 2725 shares footage of an illuminated floating ball in the home of his wife's recently deceased father. Take a look. What do you think this is? Redditors in the comments suggest the usual suspects. The glowing light ascends but reappears shortly after. Then it appears to descend into the box where it rests. While I agree with many Redditors who say this looks like a spider, I can understand those mourning a loss might wish for any connection with their loved ones, and I do hope that's exactly what this is. Number 50. Randonautica can sure be random, but then again it's eerily spot on. Published to YouTube in January of 2021, Chelsea Luna writes, "This is my first time trying Randonautica, and I was so excited to have my friends Omar from Omar Gosh TV, James from The Fam, and Carlos from Carlos The Fam joining me on this adventure. And just like that, the adventure begins. They're driving along when something hits the back of their car."
What was that? What was that? Bro, there's something just hit the back of the car.
It sounds like a rock or a pebble. They stop to see if something is back there, but they come up short. In the distance, something is heard. It sounds like coyotes or something.
You want a coyote?
Oh, stop. Whatever it is scares the group, and they hurry to get in the car and lock the doors. Later, as they're driving by a bunch of tires, a strange growl is heard.
Monster.
What is that?
What? No, you heard something?
It sounded like a growl.
Yeah, it sounded like a growl.
They continue on. A strange sound effect that the crew missed is heard in the background. It almost sounds like a disembodied voice is screaming, and it says, "You."
Oh, I like that.
Bro, you didn't say it at the last look.
At one point, they're taken to the statue of an angel defeating a demon. Carlos says he was thinking about an angel, so this is a bit freaky that the app drew them here. Does this creepy adventure make you want to never use Randonautica again? Because that's definitely the case for me. These strange sounds in the sky have never been properly explained. I found no less than 5 different incidents of the exact same grinding and humming metal on metal noise. Sometimes it comes from far away, like this one from Germany. And sometimes it echoes throughout the whole city, like this one from France. And sometimes it sounds like it's breaking directly overhead, like this one from Edmonton, Canada. But out of all of them, this recording from an unknown Spanish-speaking country is the clearest. These people are from around the world and obviously can't all know each other, yet each video is recorded between 2015 and 2016. I don't know if this is a warning, an experiment, or what, but I'm worried that one day we will find out. Who would win in a swamp fight, a deer or an alligator? You're about to see. Published by Hazy Season in June of 2019. This scary video was captured at Squaw Creek Reservoir in Glen Rose, Texas. At first, the fisherman thinks he's looking at a huge fish.
Look at those. What is that? Is that a dead fish?
But as he gets closer, he realizes it's a deer in the water. The deer is no longer alive, and it's being pulled down into the water's depths.
It's like looks like a deer, dude. It's a dead deer. Holy
by something that is so far unseen. The crew is wondering what's gotten hold of it. They watch for a moment and soon realize a gator's got him. They then let nature take its course.
Dude, what happened? Did it just like fall down this hill? Holy.
Oh, there's it. It's gone. It's dry.
Although we probably all could have guessed that the gator would win this battle, I'm sure we were all rooting for the underdog. Okay, so there's this tech channel from Singapore called Computer Guys, and one of their videos is beyond creepy. Weird things are continuously caught on tape in one of the most unlikely places to ever become haunted, a bare, nondescript server room. No one is seen on 2 different security cams, and yet the door opens by itself. A ghost did it, they later say. I guess they were having technical problems shortly afterwards, because IT workers come into the room to run some programs and check wires. No sooner do they leave does the paranormal activity return. As the minutes pass, the laptop flips back open right before an IT worker walks in to check some things. Everything looks fine, nothing weird, and then things get scary in a paranormal way. A sighting of a ghost on the floor is caught on camera, which is then knocked over. Some paranormal investigators will tell you that electricity attracts the supernatural, so it makes sense that a ghost would haunt a high voltage server room if that were true. With that said, the whispering at the end does seem a little over the top to be real, and makes you wonder if this scary ghost sighting video is legitimate. A YouTuber named Rata Negra Mago is positive that his house is haunted, and he claims to have the evidence to back it up. The kid's toy moves across the table and I don't see a string. Then a bottle falls off the table. There are no shadows coming from the other room when it happens. No one is around. And right before it happens, this strange traveling light appears. Looks paranormal to me. 4 days later, he catches this object moving all by itself. This one I find a little harder to believe, because I feel like it's definitely in their grandma's line of sight. I mean, how could you miss a bright green reflective veg doing 360s for almost a full minute is beyond me. She must have been fully absorbed in her show. I have my doubts about this one, but at the same time I don't know how they're doing it, so maybe it's real. This final video taken almost a year later is perhaps the oddest of all. This hanging ornament begins moving in place with nothing to help get it started. Yes, it's by an open window, but there's no wind. The leaves on this plant don't move, and neither does this towel hanging over a chair. And it's not the air conditioner either, because this connected red string doesn't move at all. And if you're still not convinced, take a listen. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, this phantom light reflects across the stereo glass, though to be fair, it could just be a member of the family. The paranormal boys experience crazy paranormal activity in this place frozen in time. As they're speaking to the spirits, they hear something.
Did you hear that?
That was definitely a knock. Later, using a spirit box app, they capture this. As they continue speaking, they're sent some terrifying messages.
If you're in this room, can you affect some of the devices we put down? Where are you, Tom? Was that Ben?
And then the spirits respond directly.
Copy this. You joking me? Did you hear that?
Still, it warns them.
Hey? Yeah, it's just sitting in the middle of the sofa. What was that? Dead. I'm not dead yet.
There's someone upstairs.
Can you hear that out there? Living. Can you hear that out there? Living.
Since the team won't listen to the spirit's warnings, it takes matters into its own hands.
I thought you pushed my arm then. Something just... Jeffrey. Something just pushed my arm.
What pushed his arm? I think it was Jeffrey, but in the end, it could be any one of the demons haunting this place. A YouTuber called Douglas Cash stands at the entrance of these caves in the Bahamas. The stunning scenery grows less colorful and more claustrophobic as he takes a few hesitant steps inside. Soon he finds himself staring down a tunnel that looks barely large enough to support a human when a wild shriek fills his ears. Listen to this and tell me what it could possibly be, animal or otherwise.
Boy, you know I ain't going down yet, right?
Whatever it is, it sounds about medium-sized, but vicious enough to tear your throat out if given the chance. Even Douglas doesn't seem to recognize the menacing noise and decides not to go any deeper, but since he did come all the way out to this area by foot to do some exploring, he decides to hang around the cave entrance for just a bit longer. After all, it's brighter here, and he doubts whatever he heard is going to come out of the darkness. He explores for another 2 minutes or so, studying the natural rock formations and whatnot, and then decides to call it a day. But unknown to him, looking back at him from the darkness are two glowing eyes that quickly disappear, and if you listen closely, you can hear some kind of chittering language that could indicate a certain level of intelligence. A group of British ghost hunters are walking around the Wilney graveyard in search of paranormal evidence. It's late at night when they apparently find exactly what they are looking for. Pay close attention to the area between the two tombstones or you might miss it.
What the was that?
The man's flashlight passes over a tall silhouette that makes him pause. It looks like it could have simply been some shadows playing against the wall, but they light up the entire area. And there's no wall to be found. Let me know if you saw the strange shadowy figure and what you think it could have been. Do you take this ghost bride to be your lawfully wedded wife? I don't. Published by Thiago Ferracao in April of 2022, this ghost hunter encountered a phantom bride that was forcibly married to her husband in this haunted church. This is what happened. As they first enter the church, an unseen force slams the door shut and moves a wooden bench with great force, and then the fun begins. The bride is first seen as they are attempting to communicate with her using a spirit box. Watch the door carefully in the background. A pale figure passes slowly. The pair don't notice it.
Qual era o seu nome?
Later, as they're told to leave, they see the figure face to face. Once they're standing outside the church, the figure is seen standing at the altar. As Thiago walks toward the church doors, they're slammed shut in his face. After watching this scary video, would you say I do? Let me know in the comments. Full respect goes to YouTuber Rex Travolta for somehow obtaining this cry out loud creepy CCTV footage of a haunted driving school in Puchong. A man goes into the building late at night to wait for his girlfriend for a late night meetup. Little does he know tonight's date is about to get cancelled for paranormal reasons. The computer monitor somehow turns on at the same time, and when he checks the wiring underneath, the screens briefly flash in unison. He runs out of there scared out of his mind, and that's when a ghost decides its work is done as it shuts the door and pulls up a chair. The video looks paranormal at first, but I think it could be really good stop motion photography that you don't notice because the camera's been skipping frames the whole time. And as for the monitors, maybe the computers were already on and had some kind of screensaver on a timer to make it look like they went on at once. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.